pretty much everything you need to know about taming and using a Crystal Wyvern in ARK Survival Evolved.
Oh, that's a Dire Dragon!
Crystal Wyverns can only be located within the ARK Crystal Owls DLC map. Depending upon the variant of Wyvern you're looking for, they can spawn in one of 3 different sections. Tropical Wyverns can be found within the White Shoals area to the southwest, Ember Wyverns can be found within the Ember Forest towards the center of the map, and Blood Wyverns can be found within the Blood Falls Hollow towards the western side of the map. Given the high number of spawns and the speed at which these wyverns can travel, you can expect to see large numbers of these creatures within these spawn locations and all throughout the surrounding areas. There is also a wyvern nest located on the outskirts of the desert cavern that spawns eggs based on the current wyverns within the area, similar to how egg spawns work on the other DLC maps, but we'll get into this more in just a minute. Please be aware that there are 2 variants of Crystal Wyverns called Heirs and Alphas that are extremely aggressive and far more powerful than their regular counterparts. Neither of these variants can be tamed, and the only purpose they serve is to look awesome and fuck up your life more than ARK already does.
Why would you put this in the game? Holy shit!
Alright, so let's dive into the taming process of Crystal Wyverns and cover some of the basics. Crystal Wyverns can be tamed either passively or hatched from a stolen egg. To tame a Crystal Wyvern passively, you will have to be at least level 65 and have access to one of its 2 favorite foods. The Crystal Wyvern's top 2 foods are Primal Crystals and Regular Crystals. Primal Crystals can be acquired by tranquilizing a wild Crystal Wyvern, approaching it and pressing E to take the crystals. I would highly recommend trapping the Crystal Wyvern to avoid the risk of dying, however it is possible to tranquilize them on the go with a strong enough long neck rifle. The amount of Primal Crystals you receive is highly random, however higher level Wyverns seem to yield more than lower levels. Primal Crystals have a spoil timer of 45 minutes, however can last much longer within the inventory of a tamed Crystal Wyvern. Once the Wyvern you knocked out wakes back up, it will become extremely aggressive and try to pursue you if you're still in the area. Knocking out the same Wyvern for more Primal Crystals will not work, as they go on a rather long cooldown before more are produced, so it's best practice to just kill the thing while it's still unconscious. So once you have either Primal Crystals or regular Crystals, simply place the food in the last slot of your hotbar and approach them and press E. Once the Wyvern has been fed once, it will begin to fly around hysterically like a goddamn meth addict. To combat this, I would recommend one of the following methods. Method number 1 is to attempt to get on top of the Crystal Wyvern between its shoulder blades and lie prone. Once in this position, you can begin to passively feed it when indicated. Grappling hooks and parachutes will be useful in case you're knocked off its back while it flies around frantically. Method number 2 is to build a taming pen nearby and lure the Wyvern into the pen to trap it. You can build something as simple as 4 behemoth gates with the end of it pillared off, or even a pillar and ceiling trap with a behemoth gate as the entrance. I personally prefer the pillar and ceiling option only because you can funnel down the design to bring the Wyvern closer to the ground, meaning you can feed it on foot without having to crawl up high or stand on its back. Honestly though, any trap will more than likely work as long as the spaces between structures isn't too large. Once you have your pen built, simply lure the Wyvern into it by using a flying mount. Biting the Wyvern, then flying towards your pen is the best option to get its attention, as using rare flowers will attract other wild Crystal Wyverns. Once you lure it into the pen, you'll want to make sure your tame is far enough away from it so that the Crystal Wyvern's breath can't affect it. While the Wyvern is still fixated on your tame, simply run around the front of your pen and close the gate. The Crystal Wyvern will quickly lose interest, and you can begin the taming process inside the pen. The other option for taming Crystal Wyverns is to steal their eggs. As aforementioned, there is a large Wyvern nesting area located near the desert cavern in the south. Similar to egg spawns in other DLCs, the Wyverns in the area have a chance of laying an egg in a nearby nest that can be stolen, hatched, and raised. Even though Crystal Wyverns technically have genders, either gender is capable of laying eggs within the nest, so if you see a high-level male, there may be an egg of equal level in a nest nearby. Just be aware that the Wyverns within this area are naturally aggressive, and if you steal an egg, they become super aggressive! Because of this, I would recommend one of the following methods to make stealing eggs easier. Method number 1 is to use a flying mount of greater speed to outpace the Wyverns once you've stolen the egg. Using an already tamed tropical Wyvern is a very good choice for this because they can acquire speed boosts off of nearby waterways to quickly outrun the aggressive Wyverns. Tropiognathus are also a good choice due to their smaller size and fucking awesome jetpack. Method number 2 is to build a large Wyvern funnel trap nearby that you can fit through with a smaller flying mount, but wouldn't allow the aggressive Wyverns to pass. Although I've seen this method work, I honestly wouldn't recommend it unless you're playing on a very friendly server, as these traps can be rather costly and time-consuming to make. You also have to use a smaller mount in order to fit through the cracks of the trap, which means that aggressive Wyverns will surely outpace you if the trap happens to not work properly. Once you've acquired an egg of desirable level, it can be incubated and hatched like any other egg in ARK. Once the baby is hatched, you'll need Primal Crystals in order to raise it. Each Primal Crystal increases their food by 350. Please note that even though a baby Wyvern might display having thousands of food, its food limit might be capped at less than 350. This means that the baby Wyvern will technically never eat the Primal Crystal that you've provided it with, and has the potential to starve it to death. Force-feeding the baby a primal crystal when its food gets low is the best practice to ensure this doesn't happen. Once the Crystal Wyvern has reached adulthood, it will eat raw meat like any other carnivore. You will not need a saddle to ride your newly tamed Crystal Wyvern. Alright, so let's dive into the controls and functionality of the Daenerys Crotch Warmer and showcase some of what it can do. Crystal Wyverns feature a left mouse button bite that does moderate damage, a right mouse button breath ability that changes depending upon the variant of the Wyvern, a spacebar flight/land ability, a C key wing flap ability while on the ground, and a C key pickup ability while flying. Depending upon the variant of Crystal Wyvern, certain abilities or mechanics will change. Ember Wyverns have a medium-range fire breath that is augmented with their rage, progressively increasing the damage of subsequent breaths the more that it is used. Tropical Wyverns have a medium-range water jet which applies a hinder to the enemy and damages them over time. Tropical Wyverns will also receive a buff when they touch the water, similar to Spinos. This increases their health, stamina, damage, and movement speed. Blood Wyverns have a medium-range siphon ability that leeches health over time from all enemies affected by it. Blood Wyverns are also capable of healing themselves by eating corpses, similar to an Argentavis. Unlike the conventional Wyverns introduced with Scorched Earth and Ragnarok, a Crystal Wyvern's breath will not harm nearby allies or tames. Crystal Wyverns are naturally smaller than regular Wyverns and are easier to control due to their tighter and faster turning radius. However, their base damage and attack speed is slightly lower. Crystal Wyverns are extremely fast flyers, easily outpacing all other flying creatures outside of the Tropiognathus. Crystal Wyverns are also capable of gathering cactus sap and thatch at highly efficient rates with their wing flap ability. So with all of this in mind, what is the main purpose of a Crystal Wyvern? Outside of starring in one of my favorite television shows of all time. Well, given their moderate base damage, fast flight speed, and unique variant mechanics, I consider the Crystal Wyvern to be either a travel mount or a PvP mount. If a travel mount is what you're looking for, you want to invest mainly into health, stamina, and weight. Crystal Wyverns are capable of achieving very high pulls of stamina, making them great for traversing long distances quickly with minimal stops. Couple this with their ability to pick up small creatures on the go and their ability to preserve primal crystals for extended periods of time, and you have yourself an extremely efficient travel companion. If a PvP mount is what you're looking for, you want to invest mainly into health, stamina, and damage. Crystal Wyverns can reach rather high pulls of health and stamina, however the lack of a saddle definitely makes them vulnerable to enemy gunfire or Tropiognathus. Despite this, they're capable of dishing out rather high amounts of damage to multiple enemies within a short amount of time, making them great for wiping out enemy tames or clearing the skies during raids. Alright, well that about wraps up this video. If you enjoyed or found any of the information to be helpful, please be sure to press that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and leave me comments down below because...
That's a dirty dragon!